Okay, so I press play. K Slay. Alright, so this is happening. It's actually happening. Are you mad? Listen to the intro. I hope you like the beat. Ready? Uh, uh, and I'm back again. It's KOD on the map again. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Listen, welcome to the very first episode of the Kayode KoDCAST. You get it? Kayode KoDCAST podcast, you get it? Listen, I hope you're excited for it because I am. And you know, I had to get this beat from one of my old mixtapes back in the day from as a university thing. So this is where the intro is from. But anyway, welcome to the very first episode of the Kayode KoDCAST. Hope you're excited. I can't wait to share with you everything I've got planned. And I don't know, let's just get straight into it. Let's get into it. Let the intro roll out a bit actually. And again, should I spit bars for them? Alright, listen. And again, why am I still doing bars? Alright, let me start this. We're getting straight into it now. Alright, here we go. Alright, so cool. Welcome to the very first episode of the Kayode podcast. No, Kayode KoDCAST, I'm calling it. You know, let me give you a bit of the background behind that actually. Because basically now, I've had the idea of, in fact, let me take you back to 2015, because the first time I actually had an idea to do a podcast was way back, like Quay, you know, way back, like, I don't know if you spelled Quay, Kway, but it was way back in 2015, or maybe in 2014. But basically, I was listening to a guy called Darren Hardy, you know, shouts out to Darren Hardy. He doesn't know me, this isn't a personal recommendation to Darren Hardy. But basically, now, back in like 2014, he had this thing called, what's it called? It's the Success magazine or something like that, where he went around interviewing successful people across America. And I remember being like, even though I know there's a mad podcast sort of like hype right now in 2019 or even 2020 now, but I had the idea to do a podcast way back. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to take Darren Hardy's same model where he did in America in 2013, 2014 times and do it in the UK. And so what I did is that I went and pitched my podcast idea in 2015 at the at Manchester Met, the university I went to. And in fact, someone on my Instagram actually commented today what university I went to, but there you go, I went to Manchester Met. And there's a competition at a business sort of like boot camp thing called, I think it was called Enterprise Futures or something like that. Basically to pitch your business idea and you get to win funding. So I went, pitched my idea, and lo and behold, I won the funding to start my podcast, which was called, I was going to call it Break the Tape. You get, you know, when you're running a race, right? You know, you got to break the tape, you're a winner. So I'm going to call it the Break the Tape podcast, interviewing successful people in the UK. But to cut a long story medium, because one thing you're going to realise that when you're listening to my podcast, or just when you listen to me, period, I don't like to cut things, you know, you don't want to cut something long, make it short, innit? So basically, you want to cut a long story medium, you don't want to cut it short. Basically, to cut a long story medium, I couldn't do the podcast, you know, I won the funding, etc., but I couldn't do the podcast. I even won funding from the O2 Think Big as well, their scheme as well. But to cut a long story medium, like I said, couldn't do the podcast. And basically, so I slept on the idea of doing podcasting ever since 2015. And ever since the show, like I was on The Apprentice in 2018, everyone's like, you know, do podcasting. And I felt embarrassed because I didn't want to tell people that I had an idea to do the podcast way back. Do you get what I mean? And now I'm seeing everyone pop up doing podcasts. And I think, man, do I really want to do a podcast? And to be honest, the reason why I've kind of struggled doing the podcast thing is because, yes, I had the initial idea of interviewing successful people back in 2015, but that's been done to its teeth now. You know how much people are doing podcasts interviewing people? Now, I'm not trying to throw a shade at anyone. In fact, maybe I'm throwing a shade because right now it's nighttime and I've got my lamp on. You know, go lampshade you get. But that's been done to its teeth. So I was like, oh man, my idea, it wasn't even my idea, but the idea of interviewing people has been, you know, rinsed. So what can I do instead for a podcast? So I'm thinking, oh man, you know, what can I do? And so I was booked by a company called Cube Learning. And I was booked to them to host their podcast called The Right Route, you know, cheeky plug, check out The Right Route podcast, iTunes, all of that, Spotify, all of that, check it out. And doing the podcast with them, I don't think they realised how much they inspired me by me booking them to inspire their listeners. Because I realised how simple it is to actually do the podcast. And so when I got back home, you know, all the episodes are out now. I think the last one came out in December. I was like, right, I can actually do this. So, but then my whole dilemma is, what do I do a podcast about? And if you're listening to this right now, you're thinking, oh yeah, I want to kind of do the podcast, but that's the thing. I realized in this podcast, I'm going to go down different angles because I didn't want to keep this scripted. I want to keep this quite authentic. And one guy who I was listening to something called Fire in the Spoof. It was a spin-off from Charlie Sauce's Fire in the Booth. And one of the guys on there, I can't remember his name, this is going to bug me. If he's listening, I'm really, really sorry. He even said to me again last week, oh, you should do a podcast. And the main thing I tell everyone is that, right, yeah, I'm happy to do a podcast, but what do you want me to do it about? Like, what do you want me to talk about? Do you know what I mean? So I just realized to myself now, no one really is telling me what they want me to do a podcast about. They just tell me to do the podcast. It's like me saying to you, right, you should go on holiday. I recommend for you to go on holiday. And you turn around and say to me, where do you want me to go? And it's like me saying to you, well, I don't know, just go on holiday. That's how I felt. Everyone's basically telling me to go on holiday, but where? So I just now took it upon myself, like, look, I'm just going to do the podcast. I'm going to call it the Kayode Podcast. No, Kayode KoDCAST. Sorry, obviously it's the first day, I might make mistakes. So I'm calling it the Kayode KoDCAST. I'm just going to be me speaking because I don't necessarily want to interview successful people, quote and unquote. In fact, you can't see me, but I'm doing the bunny fingers. I'm just going to be me speaking. And it's quite weird because it's quite strange. I'm literally just here just talking, do you know what I mean? And people are going to be hopefully listening, but I've done radio a lot. Like even in December, I was booked by the BBC. They call me now a friend of the show on BBC 5 Live. It's crazy. So I'm used to kind of speaking. So I thought, let me just pull my finger out. Let me just do the podcast. I'm just going to talk and do the podcast. And I'm not going to try and make this have hella breaks and hella cuts because one of the things that put me off from doing my podcast back in 2015 is that not only did I want to do a podcast, but I wanted to do it visually as well. So it's not, yes, you could argue it's hard to do podcasts when it's just audio, but now imagine that you have to also do the visuals with it. That's hella edits. And so that's what put me off before. So sitting here right now today, I'm doing this podcast, but I don't want it to be a case of where I'm having to do too much edits because that is the thing that kind of prevented me before. So I'm hopefully just going to try and do it in one take. You're going to take what you take from it and we're going to take it from there. Now, in terms of the name, I decided to call it the Kayode KoDCAST, playing off my COD brand. Because initially, right, I wanted to call it the KoDCAST. But guess what? I went on iTunes and I saw these people, I think they're from Poland, or somewhere in Europe. When the words are mad, it's like they just took random letters from the alphabet and threw it together because I couldn't even pronounce the description, but they already called it the KoDCAST. I think to myself, how dare you? How dare you take the name of the KoDCAST? Like, I've been COD from the longest, do you get what I mean? And you want to take the name KoDCAST? So I've called it the Kayode KoDCAST, all my social medias are at Kayode Kod, now through cast at the end. So it's called the Kayode KoDCAST. Hopefully the KoDCAST people don't want to come and beef me, because I don't want to beef no Polish people, because I've seen the way they scrap in it. So if you're listening to this and you're the team KoDCAST, listen, let's just make a truce. I'm holding up my white flag from now, okay? So that's why it's called the Kayode KoDCAST. Because even when I was doing the stuff for the Cube Learning, Emma, shouts out to Emma, she was like, oh, KoDCAST. I was like, no, the KoDCAST name is taken. I've looked into it before. So this is where we're at, the Kayode KoDCAST. So in today's first episode, no, I don't want to sound too formal. That's still too formal. But anyway, so I guess the main thing for me, obviously right now we're at the beginning of 2020, new decade, everyone's been screaming that, I even did my new decade post, etc. Man, I should have had a glass of water with me, man. I can feel my throat dry now, I'm up, and I think I need to clear my throat. Actually, I can't be doing that on air. But anyway, so the main thing I want to kind of talk about in this one is that, yes, it's 2020, and December for me, coming up to this new decade, was a mad one. Sorry, I had to clear the throat. Sorry, man, I tried. I don't want to edit. I'm sorry, man. I don't want to do the edits. I just want to do this in one take as best as I can. Maybe down the line when I get better at podcasting, I can do edits. Or maybe when I get a team on board, we can do edits. So if you hear me clear my nose, scratch my back, or pat my head or whatever, that's part of the process. But anyway, December for me was all about moving house. December 2nd, I picked up the keys to the new place. And the reason why I want to touch on this first is because I'm now, if I don't want to say my age, but I'm now, I'm somewhere in my 20s, right? I'm below 30 and I'm above 20, just put it that way, okay? And I moved out of my house when I was 18 years old, okay, to go to university. Now, at the time, in 2000, I don't want to say I can't say if I say the year when I went to uni and I said 18, you're going to work out how old I am. But basically, when I went to uni, I don't know why I'm so precious about my age, but when I went to uni in 2010, I said it, okay, all right, I went to uni in 2010 when I was 18, so I guess how old I am, you do the maths. I didn't realise that when I moved to go to halls, I did not realise that I wouldn't be going back. You got what I mean? I do remember that day very fondly as well. Me and my mum drove up the M1 and M6, going up towards Manchester. I thought I was going to Manchester campus. Sat nav told us to get off at Junction 16. I was like, wait, Manchester's another 30 miles. Lo and behold, I was in Alsager. You know what I mean? I was in Alsager, then moved later to Crewe. But I didn't realise, so when my mum dropped me off that day, September 27th on a Sunday, I got there mad late, like almost like coming up to midnight. I did not realise that I would not be coming home. That would be it. So since 18, I then graduated when I was 21. And the first house I moved into after Halls is that I moved into my girlfriend's place. She lived with her friend and it's us three living there together. Now, the reason I did that is because I was elected vice president of my students' union and she was also working in students' union. So we lived together, did that for a year. So 2014 to 2015. Then from 2015, we broke. In fact, she broke up with me actually. You know, I've never broken up with anyone in my whole life. You know, I've always been the broken uppy. If that makes sense. I've never been the broken up her. I've always been the broken up he. So yeah, she broke up with me, whatever. She moved abroad, whatever. It's all good. I'm over it, I think. Anyway. But yeah, so 2015 was the first time so I moved out of the house with my girlfriend and I moved into another house in 2015 with a friend my friend Jordan, shouts out to Jordan, he was elected vice president after me, and we had another friend, Sophie and Steph. So it's us four living together in the house. And it was still kind of student house-ish, do you get what I mean? Because it weren't even a significant amount. So I don't really call that my first proper house. That's where I'm kind of going with this. Then after that house, I moved into the other house where I spent 5 years. Because what I did is that I had my business partner who I did events with, shouts out to Rich, he lives out in Thailand now. He had multiple properties here in the UK. So I said to him, look, like, Rich, let me manage your property. You're in Thailand. Let me manage your properties for you. And as part of the deal, basically, I got to stay in one of his houses. So I did that for 4 or 5 years. And after that, I went on to the show The Apprentice. And then on The Apprentice, right, when we moved in, when I was in Richie's house, I didn't know how The Apprentice would be for me. You know, I'll be real with you. I thought I was going to blow up like racks. I'm talking racks upon racks. Do you get what I mean? So it's like in Richie's house, I was there for like 5 years, you know, managing his other properties, staying in that house as well. I then thought to myself, right, I'm going on The Apprentice now. There's no point in me trying to, everyone always says to me, like, right, why are you staying in Crewe for? Do you get me? Why are you living in Crewe? Why don't you go to Manchester? Why don't you go to London? Like, nah, I've got something coming up. I'm gonna cream off this. Let me just quickly stay here. I'm gonna hold it down here for a bit, and then once I blow off The Apprentice, which I thought, I'm then gonna get mad money, move to London, move back to Manchester. So. But what happened is that basically Richie wanted to sell his houses in it, because the university where we basically operated doing events in the houses was shutting down, the uni I went to. So I moved quickly temporary to a 3-month place while the show was on, I remember thinking, yeah, I'm going to blow. There's no point me getting a long term. I can quickly ride out this 3 months. It was a nice 3-bed property, so I quickly ride it out. And lo and behold, off the show, I didn't necessarily blow. So I was like, oh man, where am I going to live now? Thinking, man, where am I going to live? You know, like, I don't want to commit to anywhere too tough. You know, I've thought to myself, I don't want to do a house share. Do you know what I mean? Because I've always done house shares from when I moved out of university at 21 to 26? 27, I've always done house share. I was like, no, I don't want to do another house share. So I was like, where can I live? I didn't blow off the show. The house I stayed in for 3 months, that landlord now wants to sell as well. I need to find somewhere to live. So I'm lucky, like, I still had my friend Yax who lived in Crewe as well. So it's like, Yax is like, you know, you can stay with me until I figure out what I'm going to do, because I didn't necessarily want to stay in Crewe. Like I said, I wanted to move to Manchester, I wanted to move to London. So he let me stay there from December of 2018 until literally December of 2019. Like I said, this is kind of the first place I properly moved into. And it's wild because I've never officially rented. Like, I've never rented. It's crazy when I think about that. When I lived with my girlfriend and her friend, it was to her parents' house. So I just, you know, put money in the pocket every now and again. After their house, we moved into a little place with my brother and Jordan. That wasn't a serious renting. It was an old man who just let us stay there. After that, I moved into Richie's properties for 5 years. Again, I was managing his property, so we had a little deal. So I never properly rented again. And then after that, I moved into that little place for 3 months before the show was on. Yeah, I gave that landlord I gave her a little bit of money for the 3 months. And I said, you know, hold that, let me just stay for 3 months because I'm going to blow. And then after that, I moved to my brother Yax's house, which was, you know, again, I didn't necessarily I just literally just lined this pocket every now and again. So I never properly officially rented. So for me, it's quite scary doing this move I've done now in December of 2019, because I've never really done this before. Do you get what I mean? So right now I am so outside of my comfort zone. It is unreal. It's that peak whereby, you know, when you have to go. In fact, I don't know. You listen. I don't know where you're at, like in terms of your living situation. But if you haven't moved out, or whether you have, it's crazy because if you're not going to go to landlord direct, you obviously have to go for an estate agent, and they're asking the hella questions about your rental kind of history. I'm like, man, but do you really know what I've been like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I haven't really done that. Do you get what I mean? So it's like that. I'm saying to them, look, I'll give you 6 months up front. I don't necessarily have the history to show my rental kind of thing, but I'll give you the 6 months up front. They didn't want to hear it. They want to do that. So, you know, I had to put down my mum as a guarantor instead. But it's just crazy because what I'm trying to say is that I'm 27, right? And I've never formally rented it since moving out at 18. It's just mad. Like, living in a horse didn't really count, and then everyone's house I stayed at before didn't really count. And the whole reason I've been kind of living like this for the last like 6 years is because I've been trying to build business for the last 6 years, and I've always wanted to keep my overheads low. Like, one thing you got to realize is that if you're in business, you want to keep your expenses, you want to keep everything low, because you want to reinvest everything you can do back into your business. So that's why I've always done the house shares. That's why I was managing Richard's properties for 5 years in exchange for, you know, negotiating something on his room and, you know, taking a bit of bread from the houses. Do you know what I mean? I want to keep my expenses low. But if I realize I don't want to do that, for me, it comes to this situation where I'm in my life now is that I would rather just pay now, just have my own space. It's like, I've been here for a month now, and I've probably been the happiest I've been in years. Or definitely for over since the last 12 months anyway. Not saying it's all been rose gold, because I've got some other things on the touching about the dilemmas of moving houses. But I've honestly been one of the happiest I've been. And I realised that, yes, I need to keep my expenses low, but at the same time, I've got to keep my mental health in check as well. And touching on moving, it's like people say like moving house is one of the most stressful things you can do. Like, it's crazy when I think about it. It's like, even, you know, like my siblings are at home still, and it's like other people, you know, they're at home still. It's like some people have, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, I don't know how you want to, you know, it's tomato kind of thing, but some people have never moved house, and it's crazy. I'm not knocking it at all. Let me be very clear. I'm not trying to knock it. I'm trying to say you have not experienced the stress of moving. Like, let me just give you an example, right? So I picked up my keys on December 2nd, and a couple of beefs. It's now January 2020. It's only now been properly settled, because the first weekend, right, I had no gas and no electric. Could put it this way, when I came into the house, there was a debt on the property. You know, the previous, I don't know if it was the previous tenants, because they said it was vacant for a year beforehand, but there was a mad debt on the gas meter and the electric. And so I didn't realize that. So it got to, I think, the Friday night or the Saturday night, and when everything cut out, I had no gas or electric. And the peak thing was, I was supposed to have my boy come up from London, you know, shouts out to Luke, we're going to a JK thing. And I had no gas, no electric. It's freaking freezing cold. And Npower and Scottish, but they didn't really want to help man out either. I'm saying to her, look, you've got to compensate my ass. You have any idea how, you listen, when it got to like nightfall, obviously it's a winter time now, so it gets dark about 4 o'clock. You know, I'm thinking, like, they said it's like 2 o'clock. They said they're gonna send someone out to come to me. It's like Friday or the Saturday. I was like, yeah, cool. They said it can take 4 hours. All right, they should be here before 6. 2 o'clock turns to 3 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna be coming. 3 o'clock turns to 4 o'clock. Sun goes down, freezing cold. My phone's dying. I've got no phone, no nothing, no power. I think, yeah, they're gonna be coming. 5 o'clock, they'll be coming. 6 o'clock, I'm still having faith they're gonna be coming. You know, 7 o'clock, I realize that right, they are not coming. Phone's dead. Estate agent people, they tried, you know what I mean? The landlord, obviously, I don't have in contact with the landlord because obviously I have to go through the estate agent. So I'm just there freezing my arse off in his house. Supposed to be my new house, you know, no gas or electric. It was peak. So, you know, I remember that's the whole reason I went to go and watch Blue Story, the movie, because I had no gas, no electric. You know what I mean? Because I was like, right, what can I do? I'm not staying in a freezing cold house until Monday, because, you know, the office for Npower and that they're open until the Monday. But to cut long story medium, you know, we managed to get it resolved. There was a debt, they cleared the debt, and they lined me up, they gave me, you know, they niced me basically. I don't want to say exactly what they did, but they helped man out, do you get what I mean? So, yeah, that was a mad one, man. And like, even still little things, man, it's just, moving house is just so expensive. Like, again, this is my first time moving to a property that's unfurnished as well. Do you know how much money I spent in December? December's an expensive month anyway, do you get what I mean? But it's like, I don't know, it's little things, man. Like, man have to buy a kettle. I've never bought a kettle in my life. And I always say it's a little £5. When you got to buy a £5 kettle, no, I didn't buy a toast, I had a toast. But when you got to buy all these little things, it adds up. Now, my boy Junior, we always talk about it. When you have to do the first shop, your first food shop when you move in somewhere, it's mad because you got to buy things like salt. Like, salt is one of them things, yeah. You buy salt once, yeah. Salt lasts you for a good 5 years. I think salt's going to last me this whole decade. Do you know what I mean? But when you got to buy things for the first time, that's when it gets so wild, man. You know, Rihanna, Wild Wild Thoughts. Not Wild Wild Thoughts, it's Wild Wild Houses. I wonder how this is going, 18 minutes. I'm having fun with it, so I hope you listening are having fun with it. I don't know how long it's going to be, because, I was watching, and shouts out to Buzzsprout, but I was taking a lot from Buzzsprout, how to do a podcast. They said the optimal length of a podcast is, there isn't any optimal length. It can be as short as whoever, or long as whoever. So I'm just rolling with the 9s, and so hopefully you're enjoying it. But yeah, but the flat that I'm in now, well, it's a 3 bed and it's freaking wavy, man. Like, I've got my own office, front room's banging. Do you know what I mean? I'm really, really grateful for the position that I'm in. And I think that's really set me up, having that house nicely for 2020. But it's not the end be all and end all, because there's still other madnesses. Like, I just had beef with a washing machine, man. Some girl, she was selling a washing machine on Facebook Marketplace. I think she scammed me in it. Like, it's bad in the sense that it was only... I'm embarrassed to even say this, but it's important for me to keep it authentic. But basically, she advertised this washing machine for £40. I was like, right, I need a washing machine, Again, I've never bought a washing machine in my life, do you know what I mean? And I was running out of socks. I was like, man, she's selling it. I was just about to go back home for Christmas. I was like, right, let me go buy this washing machine from her. Went to her house now, and she's there, single mum, 2 kids. I thought, oh, you know what? She said, I think she said on the post, like, if you come buy it today, she would take it from 40, bring it down to 30. So I went to her house. I was like, right, let me quickly look at it. Here's a £30. I need to go on a Ranger van. I'm going to come pick up from you later. And basically, she just was airing me in it. Like, I gave her the £30 and she weren't having it in it. Like, every time I'd arrange to meet up with her, there's always excuses. And it was so bad. Like, she would say, come at one time. I'll come, I'd arrange to get a van. I met up with these Romanian guys. Listen, I'm so close to these Romanian guys now, Can you know how much times I've had to book to get the van, to get the washing machine? It was like 3 times she cancelled on us. And each time I'm having to pay the freaking Romanian guys in their van to do it. It was so bad, man. And I remember thinking all types of madnesses. I'm thinking, man, am I going to have to ride out on this chick? Like, how dare she try to bump me? It's £30. It's not even a big amount, but it's a principle. I'm thinking, man, how dare she? And I remember getting back to my place now, thinking, man, who can I call for advice? Because I'm fuming that this chick's actually really she's really taking me for a mug. And I phoned a family friend of mine, Rudy. Like, he's been helping me out ever since I was a kid. Like, anything, pick up the phone, I can call him. And what he said to me is that it's stuck with me since. He said something, I can't remember how, it's bad. He said to me something that stuck with me since, but I can't exactly remember how he worded it. But basically, it's on the lines of the fact that sometimes the cheapest thing isn't always the cheapest thing. In fact, that's exactly how he said it, actually. He said sometimes the cheapest thing isn't always the cheapest thing. And what we mean by that is that, yes, the washing machine was £30 and paying for the delivery because she wanted to just sell it quickly. And yes, it was £30 and just lining the Romanian guy's pockets for a bit as well. But it was very, very cheap for the washing machine. But what I mean is that the cheapest thing is not the cheapest thing, because yes, it was cheap, but in the long run, it's expensive, because the amount of back and forth I have to do to try and get the washing machine was expensive. The time and energy and hours was expensive. So sometimes the cheapest thing isn't always the cheapest thing. And he says to me, look, Kayode, look, if you've got the money, just go to Argos, go to Curry's, whatever, get a washing machine, £150, £200, just spend the money, because at least then you've got the guarantee, you can at least be sure that it's working. Because guess what? I actually did manage to... You know what the chick did? She actually left the wash. She goes to me, well, if you want it that bad, I'm going to leave it outside. I was like, bitch, it is raining. Don't you dare leave the washing machine outside. In fact, am I supposed to be swearing on this? Oh man, I've got to do the 18 sort of like parental guidance thing, but I'm just talking. But anyway, I hope you're rocking with me, and I hope you're still rocking with me. I was like, bitch, don't you dare leave. And if I didn't say bitch, but in my head I was like, bitch, don't you dare leave the washing machine outside. It's raining. It's gonna brock. What did she do? She left the washing machine outside in the rain. So I went there with my Romanian guy. We put the washing machine, took it to my house, and it didn't even freaking work. So even now, right now, the washing machine's in my kitchen, not working. So I still got no washing machine. So even though this moves them in such a good move for me moving into this house, I've had so many beefs, man. Even with things like the Wi-Fi. So why is it in 2019, obviously it's 2019 I got it installed. Big 2019, you tried to get your broadband, the installation date can't be for 2 weeks. Like it should be ASAP. Like it should be ASAP. Like if you're booking to get your broadband in, they should come the next day and install it, not have an installation date 2 weeks. So I had 2 weeks of no broadband. So I'm rinsing out the data on my phone, trying to hotspot my laptop, running out of data. It's just an absolute mad thing. But I'm very grateful. I'm in this house now, like sick, 3 bed. Like, I'm gassed. You get what I mean? I'm gassy as clay. My office, like if you could see, my home office looks nuts. Do you get what I mean? My bookshelf, look, literally, when I walk into my office and I see my bookshelf, I feel intelligent just looking at the bookshelf, because over the years I didn't realize how much books I actually accumulated. Because in all houses I've been in, I've always, you start with 1 book, 2 book, 3 book, 10 books, whatever. I've always just kept them in the freaking suitcase. You know what I mean? I just kept them in the suitcase, but now I can literally visually see my bookshelf, and it's absolutely freaking shower. So yeah, man, that's the house kind of beef I had this month, man. Well, last month, but it's all good now. It's all good. But last month was good because we also had the Apprentice, man. The Apprentice final. Shouts out to Karina. Karina won it, man. Karina Lepore. I love the name Karina Lepore, and it's sick because me and my mum. Am I speaking quickly? Oh man, let me try and speak slowly. Maybe I'm speaking too quickly. I don't even know. This is all crazy. Hey, podcasters are nuts, because you're just here talking to yourself. I hope this works. Or if not, I'm just going to scrap it. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to keep this ride out. I'm having fun. But anyway, yeah, so shouts out to Karina because she won this year's Apprentice. And it's a relief for me because now I can get my Wednesdays back, man. You know how much me and my mum love it. That's the thing. Even before I was on The Apprentice, I was just a fan of the show. So for me, even watching it this year, because I was on it the year before, it was fun to watch, man. And me and my mum, we actually went to Karina's Bakery as well before the final. And yeah, it was nice, man. But shouts out to Scarlett as well, because Scarlett was an absolute legend throughout the whole process. In fact, a lot of them were legends. Tom knows he's a legend as well. A lot of them were legends, man. So yeah, man. Apprentice is done. Who's going to be applying? Because January, guys. If you want to apply for the Apprentice, you got until the end of January, man. End of Jan. Or they say you shouldn't really mention dates in your podcast, or because you want to keep it evergreen. But it's not evergreen. But anyway, my sister's birthday was last month as well. So, my sister, shouts out to my sister. Happy birthday to her. We went to a vegan restaurant in, Kensal Green in London. So that was nice, man. But one thing I realised is that even though it comes to Christmas, even though it's Christmas time, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're just doing this and just riding out by yourself, yeah. Sorry, I had to clear my throat again. Sorry, man, I'm sorry. Keeping it authentic, I'm joking. But anyway, one thing I realized is that it's sad because this journey, right, when you're grinding as an entrepreneur and you're trying to make it happen. I've been in this game now coming up for 7 years. It's mad when I think about it. 7 years. Sometimes I think, like, what have I got to show for it? Because everything I've done, yes, they've worked, but then it's like I haven't got anything to it's I don't know, I just feel like I'm having to start again. Like, it's just mad. But what I'm trying to say is that the last job I had was when I was the vice president and governor of my university, and we had a Christmas meal, and I remember it was nice. But now it's like I don't ever have there's a lot of downsides to being an entrepreneur, like you don't have Christmas meals, like unless you got business, you got employees or whatever. It's like I'm seeing everyone's Christmas meals, like, Christmas parties and stuff. Like Boohoo had a mad one. Shouts out to my boy Porridge. I see it in his stories and that. But I never had one. I miss it. I've never had a Christmas meal since 2013. It's mad. Like I put it on my LinkedIn. I'm having a Christmas party for one this year, as always. And they said, "Oh, why don't you invite your clients or invite some of your suppliers?" I'm like, yeah, that can run, but they've got their own thing. But it's quite sad, man. But hopefully this year, 2020, I'll be able to build a solid thing. And yeah, I can have a Christmas meal with my people then, man. So it's not just me, blowing out the not candles because it's Christmas, but it's not just me doing it by myself. So yeah, man, that was that, man. No Christmas meal, man. But my sister's birthday was wavy. It was nice to be fair. That's nice being with family, period. But I did went to the, I'm a member of the Professional Speakers Association. And in fact, do I need to be giving you guys more value? I don't know. Are you having fun? It's so hard to know because you can't gauge it. And it's the same thing when I do radio. It's like when you're just chatting on radio, you don't know, you can't see the listeners, but it's mad. But anyway, so I went to the Professional Speakers Association in December, sorry. And that was fun because we had a meal. So I guess that was kind of like my Christmas meal. That was fun, socialising with all the fellow professional speakers. I'm an accredited professional speaker now. So I've moved up. I'm not just a member. I'm actually an accredited professional speaker. And I also like to say that I'm an international professional speaker. You know why? Because I spoke in Wales once. Yeah, basically, I had a booking in Wales, I think it was, a couple of years ago now? Yeah, a couple of years ago now. And I said to them, wait, hold on a second. I'm in Wales, innit? They go to me, yeah, you're in Wales. I was like, what? So am I now an international speaker? They're like, yeah, you're international. Even though it's only like, because I live near the border of Wales, innit? I don't live too far, but they're like, yeah, you're international. I'm like, yes, I'm an international professional speaker. So that was fun. Yes, I went to the London sort of meetup. I don't really go to them very often, to be honest, but yeah, I went to that, man. And then the next day I went to see Essie Dons. Like, you know what the maddest thing is, ever since the show, or even on the show, people will say to me, one of the biggest questions I'll get would be like, Kayode, what football team do you support? I'm like, out of all the questions you want to ask me, you want to know what team I support? And I grew up supporting Arsenal, innit? But I fell out of love with the game when I went to uni, because when I realised I wasn't making it pro, I just studying, and I didn't really play football. I did play for the union, but I fell out of love with the game because it kind of hurt me, man. So I don't really support a team. I don't really support a team now, do you know what I mean? I'm just a fan of the game. But if I would say I support a team, it would have to be the SC Dons, man. Shouts out to Don Strapsy, Big G, Mitch, Crook. I like they really call him Crooks, I heard of Mitch when his name was Mitch, but I guess they call him Crooks. But yeah, man, shouts out to them. Flips as well. Flips, I remember Flips from school days. He probably won't even remember me, man, but I know he went to my bridging school back in school days. But yeah, it's all nuts. So yeah, so I kind of like SC Dons, man. So I kind of like to follow the SC Dons. So yeah, I went to go and watch them. That was good. That was good, man. That was all good. So yeah, man. What else I want to say to you guys? Yeah, so reading, like one thing I'm doing this month is that one book I'm reading is I'm reading a book, The Night. It's basically called Shoe Dog, basically the story of Nike by Phil Knight. And I was gonna say Suge Knight, like imagine Suge Knight writing a book. Obviously he's sitting down at the minute. I think he got like what? He got double figures anyway, so Suge Knight's sitting down, but it's by Phil Knight. And this is honestly one of the best books I've read for the longest. And I made this status on my what I make it on across my socials, add me on social at Kayode KoD, at KAYODEKOD, cheeky plug. It's not cheeky because it's my podcast. But anyway, and what I've realized is that my favorite types of books to read, which I'd encourage you to do too, is that you know what? One thing you're going to realize about me on this podcast is that you're going to really understand my theories and my philosophies of life. Like for me, there aren't really many extremes where you should or you shouldn't do things. You know what I mean? It's very rare. So I don't need to say that you should or you shouldn't read what I'm about to say. But one thing I realized is that I love now reading biographies and memoirs. And I love the name memoir. It sounds so memoir, like voila, moi. Like if I write autobiography, it's been called a cod memoir. Like it's got to be called a memoir. But what I like is because it's just mad. Like it's just reading about successful people, whatever success means to you, is very, very more inspiring than just reading, your typical self-help book. The first one I really read was literally in 2018, when I was applying for the Apprentice. Basically, I had to stop doing my events because, like I mentioned earlier, that the university where I kind of operated is shutting down. So I had to quickly get a part-time job, 2 days a week somewhere, just to keep me going in it. Because I was applying for the show, I was getting through the rounds. I need a bit of money coming, and so I applied to work for a job at Bannatyne's Gym, by Duncan Bannatyne, the serial dragon from Dragon's Den, obviously. And and his book was in the staff room. His autobiography, or whatever you want to call it. And it all just baffled me. I was thinking, why doesn't anyone else in his staff room read this book? Because I picked up just by, you're eating your lunch and I think, right, let me read, let me try to make my lunch break work well. And yeah, it was just mind-blowing, man, just hearing his story, and it just gave me that's probably one of the biggest inspirations I had going into the show, because as I was going through the rounds for the Apprentice, I was reading his book, and it's like, I also bought the book myself off Amazon so I can read it when I get home, because you have to leave that one in the staff room at work, and it's just so inspiring, and it's like, that's what literally pumped me up getting onto the Apprentice. And I remember even when you got onto the Apprentice, because in the Apprentice house, right, sorry, hey, I can't wait to see the feedback and comments after this first episode, because I don't know, can you hear me clear my throat? Is that allowed? I don't even know, but hey, it's all wild, man. Wild thoughts, mad tin sad thing, pull up with her. But anyway, so on the Apprentice house, right, you weren't allowed to bring in business books or self-help books because that would be deemed as cheating, but you were allowed to bring in autobiographies and fiction books. So I remember going into Waterstones, right? Because I never had a lot of time to get it off Amazon because, they said you're going on to the show, gave you the things you can bring in, and you're basically going in the house like the next week it was peak. And I was like, right, what books can I quickly buy to give me that motivation? So I went into Waterstones. And I was like, right, Alex Ferguson, one of the most successful managers in the Premier League. Boom, buying his book, give me that advantage. Ian Wright, again, another footballer. He grew up in South London, where I'm from, Catford, shouts out Blueborough. And I said, right, buy his book, get me that inspiration from someone from where I'm from. So when I'm in the house, I can still, even though you're not allowed to bring in self-help books and business books, whatever, I'm still getting that motivation. So yeah, man, I remember before every boardroom, I used to read Alex Ferguson's book. You know, like, obviously, Alex Ferguson was just showering the game. Do you know what I mean? And I remember in the boardroom, how it worked is that we used to be in a little holding room. You know, they had a pool table, and you know certain candidates, they'll be playing pool and stuff, whatever. Yo, I was just there reading my Alex Ferguson book, and I'm thinking, yo, whatever happens in this boardroom, listen, like I've got Alex Ferguson behind me in it. Like I'm reading it. Obviously you have to wait like 30 minutes or whatever before you go into the boardroom. And I was reading Alex Ferguson. I didn't even get onto my Ian Wright book, you know, because I got fired before then. But Alex Ferguson, that book changed the game. So then now I'm reading the Phil Knight, but not Phil Knight by Phil Knight, Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, and again it's an absolute game changer. Just reading his story, his memoir, as you say, memoir. So yeah, man, I'm currently reading that now. So yeah, so December was a wrap, man. 2019, not 2018, 2019, it's a wrap. Gym, I've still been hitting my gym. I started a new gym routine. It's called Cheat and Recover. You do a lot of cheat reps and recover reps. I think I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm messing with my head right now, trying to think. A lot of people start going gym in January, but I'm thinking to myself, I might not go gym once this January. 2019 was probably my most consistent time at the gym. But the reason I'm thinking maybe do I bunk off gym this January, because I need to make it happen, man. Like I'm in this house now, like this is, my expenses now are the highest they've ever been, and I need to make it happen. The last time I stopped going gym for a year was in 2014 when I was trying to build my first affiliate marketing business. And I didn't go gym for a year because I was trying to build it. And in my head I'm thinking, man, am I going to have to do the same thing now? Because gym for me, I don't know what I'm getting wham for anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, I used to think, man, I want to get wham for the girls. Girls are going to like it if I'm wham. But I realize the girls are going to like me or not anyway. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, you see guys who are skinny get girls. You see guys who are fat get girls. Like, so I stopped that mindset ages ago. So I might not even go gym this month because I'm trying to make it happen. Like, I'm not even going gym tonight because I'm recording this podcast because I'm trying to make it happen. So I don't know, man. Because gym, I'm beginning to realize it might not be as much as a priority as I wanted to. I'm thinking, man, unless I'm going on Love Island or something, I don't know, man. I might slack off gym. And that's the thing, in fact, talking about Love Island now, actually, obviously it's January, the new one's it's probably might be airing now by the time you're listening to this. Like when I was on the show, everyone was telling me, no, that's the thing, man. You know how much people became your life expert as soon as you went on your Apprentice? When I was on your Apprentice, right, everyone's like, Kayode, you should do this, you should do that. I'm like, because I didn't swear, I beeped it out. I was like, because since when were you an expert in my life? Everyone and their grandmother's telling me to do this, telling me to do that. What about what I want to do? Like one thing, everyone's like, you need to get agent. And it's not even about people telling you, it wasn't even about people telling you what you should do. They were telling you things, but don't tell you how to do it. So like I said to you before, do a podcast. How? About what? No one wants to tell me. Get an agent. Okay, where? You know, there's millions of agents. But guess what? So I'm getting excited. But what I'm trying to say is that, so yes, I'm now signed to an agency. Boop. I did that at the end of December. But it's mad because coming off to Apprentice, it's one of them shows whereby you're big when the show's on. It's like the way it is coming off to Apprentice is, right, I'm not necessarily a celebrity and I'm not necessarily not a celebrity. It's weird because when I go out, people want to take selfies. You know, I go to these VIP parties and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm not a massive celeb. It's a weird one. So even when I had this meeting with this agency, they're telling me the same thing. They're like, look, Kayode, like, we can't get you onto celebrity shows. Like, you know, I was in talks. I had, not necessarily I wasn't in talks, but someone trying to get him onto Celebs Go Dating last year. But I lost out to Jack Fowler, you know. Jack, curse you, Jack. No, Jack's cool, man. Yo, in fact, let me tell you one funny thing about Jack here. We was in one boohoo party, yeah. I don't think Jack Fowler realised how funny this was, yeah. Obviously, everyone's mad wave. We're in a party, yeah. I'm Davo. Sorry, I'm going to have to drop your name into this, yeah. It was me and Davo. Well, he likes to call himself Antantu now. So I was in there with Davo, yeah. And Jack says, well, we're all walking around. Jack's surrounded by like 5 girls. And like, why are all these girls around Jack? What about Kayode? Like, what about Kayode? Jack don't need more girls. What about Kayode Tamale? So we're there charade me, Jack, and we walked over and me, Jack, and these girls in it. And we're just doing a little 2-step. You know when everyone's in a circle, me and Jack are doing I'm doing a 2-step now, like you can see me. Where me and Jack are doing this little 2-step thing now. And then and then he points to Davo and he goes, static. He he go static? Can he go moving? It was so funny. But no, Jack, you took Celebs Go Dating from me. I'm not happy about that. But anyway, like I said, so even the agent... Oh my God, I'm having to keep clearing my throat. Even the agency person was saying, like, look, Kayode, you're not big enough for the shows like Celebs Go Dating or I'm a Celeb or, you know, any of them. And at the same time, I'm too big for other shows, which are just shows, you know, whereby anyone can go on them. Do you know what I mean? I'm in a weird medium right now. So that's why it's been hard agency-wise. Everyone's like getting agency. I'm like, yo, you know how hard it is? It's probably harder for me now because the big shows don't want me because I'm not big enough. And the other shows don't want me because the agency person I spoke to, the owner, she said that the shows, they want fresh meat. They don't want people who's been on TV already. So like, for example, Kayode, you should go on Love Island, which I got a lot. It's unlikely Love Island's ever going to want me because they don't necessarily want someone who's like, they want fresh meat, people who people don't know if they don't want Kayode. I'm a has-been. So I'll be real, sometimes I feel like, man, I went on to the wrong show, man. Because even if on The Apprentice, if you don't win, you basically don't get anything. Do you know what I mean? But at least on Love Island and stuff, if you don't win, you still got a mad recognition. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes I think, man, did I go onto the wrong show? Because even if I didn't win The Apprentice, but now it's like, it's just a weird position to be in. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, man. So whatever I've got on Love Island and them shows, I don't know, man. If they don't want fresh meat, they need to know that I will shut down their show. I will shut down the show. It's mad. But yeah, man. So I want to just kind of wrap up now. So come New Year's, you know, it was sick, man. My New Year's was probably the best New Year's. I know I'll probably say this every year, but this New Year was sick. And the reason being is because, like, so I went back to Christmas. Oh, no, I didn't go back to Christmas for London. I went back to London for Christmas. And I came back up on the 27th. My brother's birthday's on the 29th. But I need to come back up to my place, innit? Now I've got my own sort of freebie. I need to make sure everything's patterned, you know, make sure it's all right. So I don't really want to be away from my house up in Cheshire as long as I used to be. So it's got to New Year's Day. I was thinking, man, what about New Year's Eve? So I was like, man, what am I going to do? New Year's Eve, what am I going to do? You know, it's a weird one, man. Yeah, people might think I'm very popular online, but when it comes to like going out, it's not that I'm not popular, but when it comes to raving, not everyone is on what I'm on when I'm in the rave. Like, when I'm in the rave, like, I am two fingers, I'm skanking, do you know what I mean? But not all of my brethrens are on that. So even though I've got brethrens, but all my brethrens are on what I'm on in the rave. So I'm thinking, man, who can I reach out to? Last year, New Year's, I went out with my boy VJ and Fabian. We went to one club in Essex. I was shut down or sick. Reached out to him again, but they weren't even on it. They weren't really on nothing. They ain't really on nothing. Like that tune. No, the wrong tune. So I was thinking, man, what am I going to be doing? You know, so I reached out to other London people because this Christmas on New Year's Eve, I went to Forest Hill. There's a massive link up at Capital in Forest Hill. They do every year. It was my first time going. I was sick because I saw certain man I used to roll with I haven't seen for like 10 years. It was mad. So shouts out to all my old Forest Hill people and that. So, but yeah, I was thinking, yo, what am I going to do for New Year's? And then New Year's Eve, the night before New Year's Eve, I was like, shit, let me reach out to Charlie. Like, you know, reach out to Charlie because Charlie shows my love, innit? Charlie, I'm talking about Charlie Sloth, by the way. Because we booked Charlie for one event when I was doing my nightclub events back in like 2015 or something like that. And it was in September. And I remember that September of that Christmas Eve, December of 2015, Charlie texted me, innit, saying Happy New Year. And I was like, raw. Charlie texted me happy. I remember that was such a big thing for me. I was like, rah, Charlie texted me Happy New Year. Like, it was mad. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, so I had that brain of, rah, let me holler Charlie. So I'm going on my phone thinking, oh shit, have I even still got Charlie's number? Because it's been like 4 years. Do you know what I mean? Is he even going to remember me? So I'm going through my phone. I've had multiple handsets since then as well. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going through my phone thinking, right, have I still got Charlie's number? I didn't. But you know on WhatsApp, you kind of see their number. You just see a number. You can see the message. I'm like, yes, I still got Charlie's number. I was thinking, no, is he still gonna have it? Is he still gonna remember me? So I literally just messaged Charlie because he opened a new nightclub in Warrington, innit, and that's not too far from me. So I saw it. I knew it was gonna be wavy, and and that's the thing with New Year's. It's got to be a reliable motive. I even reached out to my brethren, Sammy in Manchester, because again, he's a sick DJ. Anywhere he's DJing, you know it's a reliable motive. But yeah, so reached out to Charlie, messaged Charlie about the New Year's. I said, yeah, Charlie, I'm gonna be coming on my ones, innit? Like, the people I want to, they're not gonna come up from London, they can't come. Charlie's like, yeah, just come if I can be with them, man, innit? I was like, yo, sick, yeah, go out with Charlie Sloth, whatever, wavy, you know, his nightclub, VIP, young was there as well, a madness. And that's the thing you need to realise is, right, and I saw this tweet on Twitter not too long ago. Someone put a tweet saying that, from now on, I'm going to do things whether or not my friends want to. whether that's going out, whatever. I'm like, in my head, you should be doing that anyway. Like, do you think I ever don't go somewhere because I have no one to go with? People might think it's sad, but I roll places on my ones. Because firstly, like I said, not everyone's on what I'm on. So even if I do go with people, you might not be on what I'm on and cramp my style anyway. Or I might cramp yours, vice versa. So that's the first reason I have no qualms rolling by myself. And secondly, because I know I'm going to have a freaking sick time and buck people when I'm there anyway. Do you get what I mean? So, like, again, it's just... basically, New Year's was an absolute freaking shutdown, man. Shouts out to Charlie Soft for the hookup again, man. You know, like, our table... Like, if you saw my Snapchats and Instagram story, it was freaking wild. Like I say, Rihanna wild thoughts are freaking wild. Drinks upon drinks. Obviously, it's not all about drinking. Girls... You know, I feel bad. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I woke up the next day. Yeah, I can't. In fact, let me not disclose what happened in the night after. But anyway, I went on like Instagram. I was like, yo, why? I can't remember who all these girls are. In fact, I don't know. Do I really want to be talking about me and girls on this podcast? I don't know. If you guys want, no, but I want to keep it not 18 plus. No, I want to keep it friendly. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was a wild one still. So again, shouts out to Charlie Sloth, man, for the link up again, man. Like, it was mad because when we got to the club, like, when we got to the table with Charlie, I was like, yo, Charlie, what's good, whatever, we're chilling. He goes, yeah, I remember you from the show. I was like, no, Charlie, you don't, it's not the Apprentice you know me from. He goes, yeah, you on the Apprentice. I'm like, Charlie, but you never gave me your number from the show. And I showed him the picture from 5 years ago. It's like, oh yeah, shit, yeah, Charlie, that's where we know each other from. So it's mad, yeah, so it's mad, man. Shouts out to Charlie Soft, man. 45 minutes we're going for. Hey, I've got this podcast thing on Smash. Actually, I don't know if I have still. People might not even be listening. So yeah, man. Shouts out to Charlie Soft. New Year's was absolute mazzoline. Went to Warrington, you know. And it was peak porridge. I think I even porridge my brethren porridge. When I put on Twitter, en route Wazza from Mazza, porridge added my brethren Junior. So what? Coyote's going Warrington, as if to say it's gonna be a dead night, but no, it's freaking shower. Like, how you mean? That was a mad night. So anyway, moving forward. So now in 2020. I got that 2020 vision. I'm joking, that joke's dead now. But anyway, moving forward. So what am I saying? What am I saying for 2020? Like, someone DM me on Instagram and saying, Kayode, what's your New Year's resolutions? Now, first things first, I'm the realist. Hey, when I used to have my young people, when I used to sit them down, I used to be like, I used to put on my serious face. I'd be like, first things first, I'm the realist. And everyone will be sick, man, banter. But anyway, like, so what am I saying for 2020? Well, first things first, it's like, if people know me, like, one of my best books I've ever read is called 48 Laws of Power. And in the 48 Laws of Power, on one of the laws is called always say less than necessary. Yeah. And growing up, I had another quote. We had quotes. We used to say things like, don't give off loose data. Or one of my favorite quotes, so I made it up, is that, you know, the oyster that opens its mouth loses its pearl. So I hope you see where I'm going with these. That basically, you don't want to be revealing... Well, me personally, I don't like to reveal everything that I'm doing or everything that I'm working on. Because when you disclose things out to the world, not everyone has your best interests at heart. Or some people might try to sabotage your plans knowing what your plan is to do. So when it comes to me in 2020, now... Yes, I have some things planned, but I'm not sure if I want to address it right now on this first podcast episode because... I don't know, sometimes it works for some people like to share their goals with the world. For me personally, I've always kind of held my cards close to my chest. You know what I mean? The oyster that opens its mouth loses its pearl. Always say less than necessary. Don't be giving off loose data. You know, that's how you end up in a newspaper. KOD, he's a true... I'm joking, no bars. I'm not trying to be rapping on this, but basically, I'm not too sure how I want to take it. But what I do want to share with you just before I close is that 2020 for me is going to be the year, drum roll please, it's going to be the year of the Phoenix. Kayode, what do you mean it's going to be the year of the Phoenix? Oh, great question. Who said that? Great question. So what do I mean it's going to be the year of the Phoenix? What I mean by it's going to be the year of the Phoenix is that last year for me in 2019 was the year of the spider. Basically, I'm now, since 2019, I'm now using animals to describe my year. And the reason I say that 2019 for me is the year of the spiders, because coming off the show at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, I was getting like I'm not even exaggerating, right? But I was getting no less than 1,000 messages a day, minimum. I'm talking across all platforms, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, email, LinkedIn, everything, literally no less than 1,000 minimum. I was getting things people reach out to me left, right and center. So essentially, the reason I say 2019 for me was the year of the spiders, because what does a spider do? A spider builds its web and waits for the flies to come into its web to eat. So for me, I kind of built my web coming off The Apprentice, and the flies were all the opportunities coming to me for me to eat. Do you get what I mean? So I didn't really reach out and try to do stuff because I really ampled, if that's that word, of opportunities coming to me. So it was the year of the spider, because I was essentially sitting back and waiting, because I was just getting mad. I didn't even have time to do my own thing because I was getting that much flies coming into my web anyway. But I realized that I can't have Year of the Spider anymore, you know. And Nancy, shouts out to my dog and Nancy's my dog. But at the same time, Nancy, that can't run anymore, my brethren. Like, I have to do something different now. So I'm saying it's the Year of the Phoenix because, again, I don't know how much I want to disclose on this, but like 2019 was a rough year. Like, maybe depending on how our relationship goes, I might shed more light. I want to shed no light. I want to shed. Shouts out to that Heady One tune, but yeah, I don't know how much I want to share, man. But 2019 wasn't a good year for me. That's why I'm calling 2020 the year of the Phoenix, because the Phoenix rises from the ashes. Like, I was in the ashes basically, and it's time for me to rise, man. So I'm calling 2020 the year of the Phoenix. So that is it. Thank you for listening to the first podcast. 48 minutes. And I was thinking, bro, what am I going to talk about for 48 minutes? And really, I could have even made it longer if I really tried to slow down and, you know, maintain my pace. But the main thing is, I want your feedback, man. You've got to give me your feedback. If I don't want your feedback, I want your feed forwards. Feed it forward to me what you thought about this. In fact, it's called feed forward because yes, you're going to give me feedback. You're going to feed it forward to other people talking. When you're going to share the word. You're going to share the word. Share the word, because I need you to do it, because it's just a mad one. I'm just here sitting in my office recording. I don't even know how it's even going to be like. But yeah, so yeah, just share it around, man. I hope you enjoyed the first episode anyway. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to probably... Man, I'm gonna have to. In fact, I'm gonna need to put on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it. Yeah, but basically, yeah. So share it around, man. Let me know your feedback, man. That's really important to me. Let me know your feedback, and yeah, let's keep it rocking, man. Let's keep it rocking. Let's keep it rocking. Keep it rocking. Keep it rocking. Yeah. So share it around. Thank you for listening. I'm now gonna stop. Imagine, in fact, let me not jinx it. But yeah, thank you for listening. No, because I need to put this on the outro. Oh man, so many teething things. But anyway, thank you for listening. And see you next time.
Fuck me, you don't wanna fuck me.
Men will die tonight.
Like that. Million streams in a week.